Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me on this Sunday evening via Zencaster is my friend Michael Leoboff. And Mike, it was a week of the good, or the great, the bad, and the ugly. We have a lot to get to. The Islanders have an enormous week coming up. We have some social media beefs to cover. And, of course, we had to do it, a brand new Ranger Peace Theater coming up in the second half of this episode after the Islanders 5-0 curb stomping of the Rangers at the Garden, which represents the great part. Spoiler alert. It was a pretty eventful week for just 3 games, but the Islanders are still in it. The sky has not fallen. The season is not over. They're still here in a still very packed Eastern Conference. How are you feeling about the Islanders right now? I'm assuming it's pretty good considering what happened on Saturday night in Manhattan.
Yeah, I think so, and I don't think it was unexpected. Not that result, but just like the way that we're now a month into the season. I think we kind of understand what this team is going to do to us every week, right? If you look at a week as 3 or 4 games, they're going to be scatter shots. I think I like the way you put it, right? Like there's going to be some great, there's going to be some fun, there's going to be the ugly, there's going to be the bad. They might throw in a boring one here or there, but I think for the most part, it's just going to be what happened the night before, what happened, or the game before, the period before, is just not going to have much of an impact on what's to come. And um, at times it's going to be incredibly frustrating and demoralizing, and at other times it's going to be uh, uplifting because you're not going to see performances like what we saw on Saturday night coming from anywhere. So yeah, maybe this is just who they are. They're just a bunch of helter-skelter dads from Long Island. Like they're gonna take us, as we said, we're just gonna be running the gamut every week. And the one thing I will say though is I think it's been more enjoyable than not, the season so far, I would say, right? Like I feel um the way it's, especially with the way it started, then that little slide after the Flyers game, and I was like, man, this isn't going to be fun. But I do think like when the Islanders are actually on and playing,
Mm,
it's been more enjoyable than not. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way that good players on the Islanders are playing.
yeah.
Bo Horvat is one of the best players in the league this season. Obviously Matthew Schaefer. I think
Yeah.
we can almost like skip over the Matthew Schaefer section for this for this week, which is going to be a rarity. Barzell's been really good. Lee's been really good. JG Pageau looks awesome.
Yeah. Emil
Um,
Heineman, the Heine
Emil
man.
Heineman, yeah, like essentially they have the forwards. We're naming a lot of forwards here.
Right.
We'll get to that, right?
Yeah.
Ilya Sorokin has seemingly found his game
Yes. Very much so.
lately, so it does feel like their best players are really doing their job.
Hmm.
Might not be enough, but and that helps to the enjoyment factor. So yeah, as you said, good, bad, ugly. But overall, as we've hit the 15 game mark with that game in at Madison Square Garden, I think it's been more enjoyable than that, which is, I'll take that given where we were a month ago.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. There have been some games that are straight up not enjoyable. One
Yeah.
of which happened this
Yes.
week, which we'll get to very shortly. I think for the most part, it's been pretty enjoyable. I think Matthew Schaefer has a lot to do with that. Every time he's on the ice is sort of like a new discovery. Even his not so great games, of which again he had one this week, I think are a learning experience. Let's say we take it in and we hope that that he's learning lessons here. The Bo Horvat thing is incredible. Like I sent you a screenshot of the after Saturday night of the leading NHL, the goal scorers in the NHL, and it was like I think it was Macklin Celebrini was at the top or something like that. Somebody's got 12, and there's a bunch of guys with 11, and one of them was Bo Horvat. Like that's crazy. I mean that he's there, and I don't think anybody's really even talking about it. This doesn't seem that way because he's just Bo. He's just Mr. Reliability, right? He's just always there doing his thing. And it just so happens that he's one of the NHL's leading goal scorers right now and is on like a 56 goal pace, I think I saw somewhere. So there have been fun times. Again, Heineman has been great. Drouin, I think, is another one who's been really good. so far, and a lot of fun to watch. There's some forwards that haven't been too much fun to watch, but we'll get there. But I think generally speaking, it's been okay. They are over 500 by a game now, over NHL 500, I should say. And I feel like, I was looking at the standings before, and I feel like that's probably where they're going to live for the most part. They're out of the playoffs right now. If they pick up some points this week, and we'll get to the crazy schedule coming up in the second half, obviously, they could be right back in the playoff picture. But if they don't, they'll be probably right back here where everybody else is. It's been a season of parity. I mean, the Capitals were on top of the division, and then they've sunk to the bottom. I think the Penguins might be coming back down to earth. So it's been a packed season so far, a lot of parity. But the Islanders are still in it, and I think for the most part, some of these games have been a lot of fun. Although, as I was telling my wife the other day, I don't know if I can remember what fun is while watching these games, but that's more on me than anything else, considering how they've played lately. So let's go through the games from this week really quickly, and we are going to get to, like I said, a Ranger Peace Theater later. We're going to talk about the Nikita Zadorov thing shortly as well. Quick reminder that we are on Patreon, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Membership gets you ad-free episodes, bonus podcasts, written posts, access to our chats, and a whole lot more. You can sign up for free to get our weekly release calendar, or you can try us out a 7-day free trial as well of our country club tier. So however you want, sign up today, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Okay, I'm going to try and make these recaps quick because we have a lot to get to. And it starts with, again, what seems like it happened a while ago, a 4-3 shootout loss to the Boston Bruins at UBS Arena. There were no goals in the first, but all of a sudden in the second period, things started getting very chippy. Matthew Schaefer got roughed up and knocked down by Nikita Zadorov. That brought everybody into, pushing and scrumming and all that kind of stuff. I want to get to Zadorov's post-game content in a little bit because it's going to lead us into the Minnesota game. But anyway, sticking with the game right now, Duclair opens the scoring from distance between the circles, makes it 1-0. There's chaos. And then as the pattern would happen, the Bruins would tie it up. Victor Arvidsson off of Anders Lee's skate ties it at 1. 45 seconds later, Horvat from Barzell on a 2-on-1 makes it 2-1. But then Lee takes a penalty. Puck bounces to Pavel Zacha. Literally nobody sees it go in. Everybody's looking someplace else, and Zacha just deposits it into the empty net. So we're tied at 2. Very eventful second period after a boring first period. Third period, even more so. Schaefer takes a penalty. It gets killed. He hangs out the blue line. He makes a beautiful pass to Horvat, who, with a weird angle, scores on another wrist shot. The guy can't miss right now. Makes it 3-2 Islanders. But then, I hope I get this right, Marat Kuznetsov, I think that's it. I apologize. Basically scores in front with Tony D's foot, preventing Ilya Sorokin from making a save. Game is tied at 3. Nothing happens with an Islanders late power play. Nothing happens really in overtime. Schaefer keeps trying this power move. Can't go. They get to the shootout, and it's Kuznetsov again, the only guy who scores in the shootout. Holmstrom, Horvat, and Drouin all miss. I thought Sorokin was really good in this game and was basically let down by his defense. Frankly, I thought the Islanders played really well, and it was a highly entertaining game with just a very unfortunate result. Am I kind of alone in this, or were you entertained by the game and kind of bummed by the end?
Yeah, I think so. And the Bruins goals were, the Islanders were culprits. Were on the wrong end of bounces, I think, on basically every one of those goals. Now that doesn't forgive the play of 3 players in particular for this game. Them being Tony DeAngelo, Alex Romanov, and Casey Cizikas, because I think that the 3 of them essentially were the best players for the Bruins on Tuesday night. And I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say that if one of Tony or Romanov doesn't step foot on the ice in that game, the Islanders play with 5 defensemen. They win that game.
Probably.
And I mean, I think you can also make the argument that if they just 7 and Cizikas doesn't play, they maybe win the game, because they just did not have good outings. That's been the trend for the 3 of them, and it continued in the next game too, because
very much
they
so.
were as bad as those 3 were against Boston. It got worse in Minnesota. So I think that they played well. tough breaks. Very entertaining game. Was fun to watch the back and forth between the two teams. I mean, these when these two teams met in the playoffs, that there was it was such a physical battle where the Islanders one of the teams was going to end up tapping out, and the Islanders, of course, ended up winning it, and the Bruins basically just gave up in that game six. Like six different players like walked off the ice because it was such a physical. They went down the tunnel in a physical series, so um, it was that was fun to watch. And
Mm.
actually, I find this group this weirdly, and I'm not just saying this because Emily roots for them, but I do find this kind of batch of Bruins to be kind of likable in a way. Like
Yeah.
they don't make much sense. The Bruins for so long have made so much
Yeah.
sense.
This is
Like
a very mercenary version of the Bruins.
yeah,
Like
which
the
I
kind
like
we
to
haven't had
see.
seen in a long time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like seeing that because it's the Bruins have just been so stoic for so long. It's
Right.
everybody fall in line with Chara, then Bergeron, then Marchand,
Right.
and now it's yeah, it feels a little bit more
Yeah.
heavy
You had
metal.
that the Chara, Pasternak, Krejci,
Right.
Bergeron, Marchand nucleus for so long that they seem sort of set
Right.
in stone.
Right.
Those
Even with
guys are
like
all gone. And like, who are
Tuca,
these
yes,
guys?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And when you sprinkle in a personality like Nikita Zadorov in there,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it makes them kind of likable. So, um, I find them to be a good foil for the Islanders right now because they're both teams are kind of in the same situation. Not
Mm.
neither are expected to do much, but the way that the Eastern Conference is going, I mean, the Bruins have won 6 in a row now. They had like
Yeah.
won 3 in a row to start the season, then lost 4 in a row, and now they've won 6 in a row. Um,
Jesus.
but like that's the way that the East has been, and so on one hand, you're like, oh well, at least the Islanders are playing in this division where it doesn't look like anybody's going to run away with a playoff, leave them behind in the playoff chase at anytime soon. On the other hand, you're like, well, had you just buttoned up in the 2 games against the Bruins and showed up on Friday night against the Wild, like you could be winning, you could be in first place in like the division. Yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah.
so that there's that way to look at it too.
Right.
But overall, yeah, I think this was the classic game where to call it a moral victory is like a little wrong, and
Mm.
we can't have any more moral victories with this team. They already used up all their moral victory equity seasons upon seasons ago. But
Mm.
yeah, that's as close as you'll get to one, I guess. And
Mm.
bad breaks, encouraged by like the individual performances by a lot of guys, and even Duclair too. Like looked
Yeah.
like he looks like he's starting to find something,
Yeah.
which is nice. He
We'll talk
scores.
about him in the Rangers game too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like there were some good signs coming out of this game to make me feel like, all right, get that point, get
Yeah.
the next one, and then we'll see what happens at MSG.
Yeah.
But yeah, then
Yeah.
no.
Didn't really work out that way. Yeah. Yeah. One last point on the game real quick before we get to Zadorov. So yeah, this was the kind of game that I found myself entertained by, and basically exactly what you just said. If they picked up more of the sort of quote unquote easy or like taking care of business type wins that most teams do, then losing a game like this wouldn't be that big a deal.
Right,
Like
right,
it's okay, because again, you you if you beat that team on a back to back that's coming into your arena, or that you beat that team that's dressing 5 rookies or whatever it is, like again, the taking care of business type wins that most teams get, if you took care of that business, then losing in a shootout against the Bruins or whoever that kind of goes back, a team that's on your level that goes back and forth, and then you end up in a shootout and you end up losing. That's it's sort of acceptable. You're like, okay, that's fine. The Islanders shootout problems, we'll have to talk about some other time. But so this was one of those. But again, I'm with you. Like I thought, all right, I was entertained by the game. It's an unfortunate result. What are you going to do? Let's pick up 2 points against Minnesota on Friday and it'll make this go away. And then that didn't happen. We'll get to that in a minute. I do want to talk about the Nikita Zadorov thing. So, like I said, he was roughing up Schaefer. It's becoming kind of a normal thing. The Islanders descend like a pack of wolves on anybody that tries anything, which I actually quite like. I don't think they need a goon. I don't want like a Ryan Reeves type. I see people like, oh, should they bring back Matt Martin? No, I'd much rather have whoever's on the ice in blue and orange try and beat up whoever out there, because that to me is team toughness, not one guy who's tough who's maybe sitting on the bench. I like a team that is tough throughout the lineup. So that's the thing. But Zadorov ended up having the last laugh because a bunch of Islanders fans sent him some DMs, I guess on Instagram or whatever, and he screenshotted it, put it on Instagram with all these guys, people saying stuff, and his note on it was, "Get out of my DMs and go to the rink to cheer for your team." In all caps, that place was a library tonight. So a couple of things. One, point Zadorov. He's 100% right. We'll get to the library thing in a second. But number one, like, please don't DM the players hateful things after a game, no matter who what they do or how much they rough anybody up. This is like extreme loser behavior. Like, don't do this. Don't be one of these people, man. Like, the guy's got a hard job. His team won. Just let him take his 2 points and get on a bus and go home. Like, I saw somebody like, whoa, is he going to get a call from, the league's discipline office? Like, for what? Playing hockey? Like pushing a defenseman down the ice? Like, that's hockey. I think Matthew Schaefer would probably agree with that. So, don't do that. That's very, very bad. But, I don't think he was wrong. The place was a library. It was very quiet, which is, again, weird because it was a pretty entertaining game. What did you make of Zadorov's comments here? I saw it on Instagram. No, actually, I think one of our friends shared it in our group chat. I didn't think much of it, and then like an hour later, it was all over, blogs and social media and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, so this is gonna be a thing now.
Yeah. Well, everything's a thing.
Yeah, everything's a thing.
Yeah. I thought. I mean, I would have been if the roles were reversed. I would have been like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I like this guy, and I got a lot of time for him. Like, I just think he's that old school. There's always one big Russian defenseman that's doing stuff like this in the league at a time, and right now it's him. So I mean, I got no problem with it. That's sports, and it's part of the fun of it, is getting into these little squabbles. And I will say I didn't notice it not being that loud. I thought it was just like a regular Tuesday. That's the kind of crowd that I'd expect at UBS Arena on a Tuesday night, which maybe isn't a good thing. I do think it's pretty obvious and has been for some time, that the Islanders are concerned about like the lack of tickets being sold these days. And when you've lived through the Islanders experience as long as we have, and a lot of our a lot of our listeners have, like, you can tell by the signs of, the team's a little worried about this right now, because they're doing, like, if you go to the Islanders website right now, it's like 30% off for because Ilya Sorokin had a shutout against the Rangers and stuff, right? So like, you could, like, they're just always signs, and you could, but I don't have to worry about it anymore, because they're playing at UBS Arena and not at half Nassau Coliseum, half Barclays Center, and the league's like, sort this out or else we're gonna move you to Utah. So it's like, it doesn't like bother me in that way anymore. But I will say that the national, like the big picture mainstream conversation about the Islanders, when somebody wants to talk about the Islanders, they immediately just talk about Matthew Schaefer, and rightfully so. Like, he's been great, and has changed our lives, as we keep saying. That they don't like peek behind that at all. So they have almost like a shield, where like if the Islanders were, if Matthew Darsh seemingly goes on NHL Network like 5 times a week now, he like has like a regular spot, and most of the conversation is about Matthew Schaefer, but if that's like a shield to like get to, like, oh, are you worried about this? Are you worried about the tickets? Are you worried about the defense? Are you worried, particularly the right side of the defense? Are you, are you like it? We never get that deep, because so much of the airtime, you can only spend so much time before the commercial break, and Matthew Darsh is out the door before you get to the stuff that maybe's a little bit uglier under the beautiful stuff that's going on with Schaefer. So I do think Zadorov kind of lifted the lid on that a little bit, and knowing how it's that, another thing you could kind of pick up from the team is that they are, and I'm not saying it's the people running the account or whatever, but the brass, whoever's the making the decisions at the very top, they seem very self-conscious about the Islanders' social media perception. These days, it's like there's all every I don't know if you've noticed, but when you go on like the Islanders Instagram, they lose 5-2 to the Wild, but then like so you're like flipping through and you're like final score 5-2 Isles, 5-2 Wild, and then the next clip is like some random blogger or influencer in like a suite eating steak and like thanks
Oh,
Islanders for having me out.
yeah, I
Like,
guess that's
and,
true.
and
Yeah.
and it's always, and so they're certainly leading into that kind of stuff
Mm,
a lot more
yeah.
than we've seen. And I think that because Zadorov embarrassed them a little bit
Mm,
in it on social media, on
it's possible.
Instagram, which is they I think it was probably a little bit of a jolt. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm good for him. Hopefully, the
Mm,
Islanders get him back. And that game I thought was such a good hockey game, and the way everybody handled all the extracurriculars. Like it never got to a point where it became stupid or like a
yeah.
chore or
Right.
cringy or anything. It was fun. It was organic. It was a bunch of blue, and the jersey matchup is always nice
Right.
when these two teams play. So it's fun to watch a swarm of players in the white, the like the cream and the gold and the black of
Mm,
the Bruins take on these very vibrant blue and orange jerseys, right? And it's just
yeah.
like a scrum. Like it's fun to watch. It's easy on the eye.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, the Islanders can't win a shootout to save any of our lives, so
Right.
they lose. But more good than bad in this one.
Yeah.
Not the
Um,
case for the next one.
No, not the case. And unfortunately, also in this game, the half of their defense was playing for the Bruins. So
Yes.
they like that cream and black and black and gold more
Yeah,
than
they
the
were.
blue and orange
Yep.
in that game. But yeah, in terms of the place, the UBS being a library. Listen, I'm the guy who called UBS Arena a food court with an ice rink in the middle of it last season. So I'm definitely not gonna, take the opposite side of the argument here because a lot of times the place is a library, but that's always been the case. Like
Right.
a Tuesday night Islanders game against anybody is never going to be like a big, a big throaty, loud, raucous event unless it's the Rangers,
Yeah.
basically,
Or
and
or
that
they're like on an 8-game winning streak or something,
right,
right? Which
yeah.
which they don't do.
No, they don't do. And this is kind of what I was getting to before, where I was watching the Rangers game, which of course was a fun game from an Islanders perspective. And my wife was like, "What's the score?" And this was in the third period, and I was like, "It's going all right. They're up 3-0." And she's like, "Oh wow." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I mean, I'm not happy about I'm not gonna relax until the game is over." I said I subscribe to the Yogi Berra theory. It ain't over till it's over. And so I was just like, I can't, it's hard for me to kind of feel joy when this team takes leads because over the last 4 or 5 years, that hasn't really meant anything. They've blown leads, they've, gone on long losing streaks where they just can't win, they just can't score. And so that is like you were saying, I think we know kind of what this team is, more or less a bubble team. They're going to hang around and maybe not run away with the division, obviously, but they're probably hanging around for a little while. And eventually, the division will sort itself out. But that's just what this team is. And if they want to get people in the building for more higher attendance again on a Tuesday night in a random game in November, they're going to have to put together better efforts. They're going to have to put together longer winning streaks. They're going to have to put out more consistent efforts to have exciting games like that one. Again, I know they lost, but like that was a fairly fun game. It was chippy. It had a lot of goals. Like had they played more games like that consistently and obviously won more of them, you would get more people at the game and it wouldn't be a library. But so far in the UBS Arena era, which is, 4 or 5 years old now, I guess 5 years old now, they just haven't been that team. They just haven't been a consistent winner, a consistently entertaining team. Yeah, they made the playoffs a couple of times, but like they weren't there very long, and they didn't make it, with a lot of runway. Like they made it with a couple of games left in the season. So the place was a library. It will always be a library until people give them reason to, make it not a library. I mean, obviously the difference is a library might be more consistently entertaining. At least you might learn something at a library. Whereas you go to UBS, you might not get either of those two things. So in this case, again, point Zadorov. He was right. It was a library, and that only got worse on Friday night as we've been dancing around this whole time. A moribund, zombie-esque 5-2 loss to the Minnesota Wild. I don't know how deep I want to get into this because this was just a chore and an embarrassment to watch. I mean, Minnesota again was on a back-to-back. I think they had played in
In Carolina.
Carolina. Yeah,
Right.
thank you. The night before, Meanwhile, first period, 2 goals in 4 minutes. Hinostroza with an easy one. And then Danila Yurov basically shoots through a screen. You mentioned them before. I'll pause here to get into them again. Cizikas, Duclair, McLean, Romanov, and D'Angelo on the ice for both of these goals. It was Cizikas in particular was absolutely terrible. Whatever shots the Islanders had were nothing dangerous. And the Wild looked like they had been off for 2 weeks and chomping at the bit to get into games. Meanwhile, the Islanders had been off for 3 days.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. It was awful. And
Yeah,
that line, that unit was just like, guys, are you okay? Like, it was really concerning. It was awful.
They were off for 3 days and they just played a game that you'd think they'd be like, oh, I can't wait to play again because
Right.
Cal Clutterbuck even said, he's like, I really like during that broadcast, I kept kind of being like, oh man, don't you wish you were out there? And he's like, yeah, it's like taking everything in me to not, you know,
That's right.
get my pads right. And
Right.
so you think that the Islanders should be up for it. They don't ever beat the Wild. Not that not that sure they know that the Wild just run their show basically anytime they play, but we certainly do. But you couldn't have asked for a better schedule spot. You know what's coming on the other end of it, which is a
Right.
Rangers game, then this crazy road trip we'll get into. These are 2 points that if they're going to be a team that's not going to game 80 or 81 or 82 to decide the fate whether they get in or out of the playoffs, these are the games you win. These are the games
Right.
that Nathan McKinnon probably looks at his teammates on the Avalanche, of which one of them is now Brock Nelson, and is like, I will kill you if you lose this game because this team just played the team that we can never beat because they just run you ragged when you play against them, the Hurricanes, and now they got to play again 24 hours later, 1,000 miles north, right? So no excuse at all. And the Islanders come out and they couldn't. I don't think I've ever seen a team have an easier time winning a hockey game than what the Wild had, and we've seen some terrible Islander teams in our life, but when the Marty Riesener Islanders were playing a team, they at least were trying. Like they were making it hard. Mike Halmo would try to hit somebody through the boards, or Mitch Fritz was out there doing something. I don't know what, but he was running amok, and they tried. Yeah. This looked like a game where the Islanders were just happy to be like, I don't know, I don't.
Yeah.
I want to go to dinner. I got a reservation in the city, and I don't care. We got the Rangers tomorrow. We're going to the city tonight.
Even my wife was like, maybe they were getting ready for the Rangers game, and I'm like, you know what? It's really not a bad theory.
Right.
So maybe they were thinking ahead, but you can't do that, man. You can't.
No. And that used to be a huge thing with this team, but the opposite. Yes. Remember, like the Islanders were like 127-3 at one point, like the aughts, the game after the Rangers, because they would just like expend all their energy. And this looked like that. It looked like they had just emptied the tank, and I don't know if they were what was going on. But as you said, I actually want to put Duclair to the side because I don't even know if I could be mad at him because his role. He should never, unless it's a preseason game, he should never be playing on a line with Casey Cizikas and Kyle McLean.
Seriously.
In a fourth line role, right? Like this, it's one thing if like he was playing on a fourth line with Max Shabanov or Max Siplikov in a center who's got some like offensive chops, and you're just like, we're going to roll 4 scoring lines. Right. Okay. But like playing on that line with 2 very much borderline NHLers at this point, it's just not who he is. So I think you can almost draw a line through Duclair's involvement in this, but the other 4,
especially coming off that Bruins game where they were
right. You'd be like, and I mean, it's tough to watch sometimes with Casey because you're just like, man, we don't want to do this. We want to love you. You own one of our favorite quotes of all time, and we want to get that. We want to remember you fondly for stuff like that. But this isn't going well right now, and it's a little tough because I think he's someone who could really use a couple healthy scratches.
Yeah.
But he's, I guess, he's got too many stripes on his like left shoulder or something, so he can't be healthy scratched. I will tell you this: I think on 31 other teams in the NHL, Casey Cizikas is probably getting healthy scratched quite a bit throughout an 82 game NHL season. Like if he was a Dallas Star, they'd
Right.
be like, yeah, that's their 13th, 14th guy. Don't be surprised if he ends up on waivers at some point too, because that's just who
Yeah.
he is at this point in his career.
But that would be if he had gotten traded there or signed there or something like that. Like on this team where he's been for 15 years, that ain't happening. And
Right.
and in fact, we'll get to a scratch, before the Rangers game. But yeah, you're right. It's pretty rough. I will also say, to your point on Duclair, if the Islanders shuffle things and ended up having Horvat, Barzell, Ritchie, and Pajot as their centers, and they want to put Duclair on a fourth line with Pajot, I would buy that too.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, with these guys, that's not going to fly.
Yeah. It's just not his fault at all. But like and D'Angelo and Romanov, it's just
Yeah.
that was the 14th game of the season, and those two, when Romanov has been healthy, they've been playing together, and you, me, and everybody else can see it, and it's a little. And I guess maybe part of it is like, well, the other pairings have been all right, and I guess they have been. Like Pelech and Pulak have been better than they. I'll say that they're trending in the right direction. They're still
Mm,
have their moments, and obviously Schaefer and Mayfield, you don't want to mess with too much because of the way Schaefer started, but
mm.
everyone could see it. So I just don't understand what the what's so scary about just going to Anna Boquist or going to somebody
Right.
else or making a call to Bridgeport for another righty if you don't want to go to Boquist.
Right.
It there. I didn't expect Anna Boquist to get like the Sebastian Aho, Michael Del Cole treatment, right? I thought
Right.
him and D'Angelo would kind of be interchangeable.
Mm,
And at this point, it would have made a lot more sense for them to be, because it's just those two didn't work together. Obviously, they didn't play together the next game, but
yeah.
um, yeah, those four guys, 77, 28, 32, and 53,
Mm,
um, they were the there were a lot of good Minnesota Wild players that night that had good nights.
mm.
But once again, I think that those four might have been their best players. And so for two games in a row for Cizikas and D'Angelo and Romanov, that they were
Yeah.
playing for the other team. And the Islanders have had such positive contributions from guys at the top of the lineup, but all it takes is one mistake from someone at the bottom who's not going well, and it can just spoil the night. And I think that's sort of what happened in this. Like the Islanders were down 2-0, they get a goal,
Mm,
and whatever, it's right in the back of their net like a minute later because of some mistakes
yeah.
uh by the team, and that's just how it goes. And one other thing I want to bring up about this game before we move on too is, how often do you see a game in the NHL where the first period a team just comes out flat like the Islanders did,
Yeah.
and you're like, damn. And I mean, it's happened twice against the Islanders this season, the Blue Jackets and Bruins,
Mm,
um in different games were just terrible in their first periods, and then you're like, well, uh, you know that they're going to come out like a house on fire in the second period, because they just completely dogged it in that first one, and they're going to get read the riot act, and they're all going to be like, we got to be better. And you expect, and we hear the Islanders say it all the time, oh, well, we knew they
mm.
were going to push back,
Yep.
and they just got us. And then when the Islanders do it, they just never do that. They never
Yeah.
like after they take the first period off, they're like, well, that's a sunk cost now. We might as well just take the second and third
Yeah.
off too.
Yeah. The conventional wisdom is that the coach is going to peel the paint off the walls between periods and the team's going to come out better. That just didn't happen in this case at all in between either intermission, because like you said, they get a goal, beautiful goal, by the way, tic-tac-toe, Barzell to Horvat to Heineman, and you think, okay, we've erased, that part. It's 2-1, maybe they can do something. But a minute and 30 later, Matthew Schaefer just like throws the puck up the gut. He's falling. I guess he's trying to clear the puck. He throws it up down the middle. Brock Faber is there, and he just whips it back and he scores, makes it 3-1. Like, so the being back in the game lasted less than a minute and a half. It was crazy. Another Schaefer pass ends up in JG Pajot's skates, and somehow it ends up with Kirill Kaprizov springing Marco Rossi, Asti Spumanti, for a breakaway. Scores, makes it 4-1 Minnesota. Now the wheels are off. Lee got JG Pajot. Beautiful goal, outweighted goalie Jesper Wallstedt makes it 4-2. But like,
Right.
where was this? Why isn't anybody else out here playing? It was
And,
infuriating. Yeah,
and once again, that was another situation where like the Islanders give up that goal. You're like, damn, they have belief now that they're gonna
yeah,
push in that third period. They got the late goal. They're gonna come after us.
Mm,
this lead is tenuous, even though we've been dominating this first 40 minutes. Like this isn't good. And um, the Islanders just don't do. They're like, oh well,
no.
you know,
Yeah.
that was good goal, JG, and let's just move on. And
Yeah, and then the to add insult to injury in the third period, Matt Zuccarello back for in his first game of the year. I could have swore he was going to score a goal this night, but he ended up he had to settle for a beautiful passing give and go sequence with Kirill Kaprizov to make it 5-2 Minnesota. You know, Rittich made 21 saves. I don't know if he was good or bad in this because the rest of the team was so awful. Wallstat made 25. He looked pretty fine, but this game was absolute garbage. And the worst part was the shocking thing was that the Islanders looked so tired the entire game. And I was like, again, like you said, the Islanders losing to a team on a back to back coming into, you know, either whether Nassau Coliseum, Barclays Center, UBS Arena is not unusual. We've seen this happen a bunch of times, but I've never seen it, or at least very rarely seen them look so tired. It was like they were out all night partying or something like that.
yeah.
I don't know. Did Ryan Pulock get married again and they had like another, wedding of the century the night before?
Yeah.
Like, what
Was
happened? It was shocking. Let's see. I keep saying that word, but it was shocking. Like,
it
okay,
was.
listen, losing is one thing, but like not like this, man. What are we doing out here?
Yeah. And that was a Friday night game.
Yeah.
UBS Arena should have been more than a library. The place just got called a library, and on a Friday night, it ends up being even worse because,
Right.
and it's nobody's fault. Like if I was at that game, I would have left so early.
Yeah.
And yeah, as
Yeah.
you said, like yeah, so it's just it was so obvious so early in that game too that they just didn't have it, and you're like, can
Hmm.
somebody drag them into the fight? And
Yeah.
they don't have that in them like right now, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, the Islanders have since 21-22, so since UBS Arena has opened, they have won one game against the Wild out of what, two,
It's
four, six,
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
8, 9. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
one. They're one, and they've only gotten a point in two. They've won one, and they got into overtime in another one. So they're it's
Yeah.
pathetic, and the Wild are, as you always said, like they're the most mid team in the league, and this is
Yeah.
an absolute boogeyman for them,
Yeah.
and it just didn't change. And this was the type of game that if you're worried about ticket sales, that's the type of game that would just drive you up a
Yeah.
wall, because
Right.
there was you hate to say, like, it doesn't look like they're trying, but I don't know what else you could say after a game like that. You just go to
Yeah.
bed and you're like, I think I just watched an NHL team go through the motions in
Yeah.
a regular season game. That I mean, for this team, every game is important, but this one was pretty important because of what's coming. And
Yeah.
it gets real. We say it all the time. It gets really frustrating that we can kind of feel the stakes of a game like this that might not look big on the calendar, but
Mm.
is because of you got to get these points because you're probably not going to get them in Vegas in a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just completely laid down. That was
Yeah. It
embarrassing
was
stuff.
it was embarrassing. And I said this on Blue Sky, like they treat this worthless team like they're the 77 Canadians. Like I don't understand. They keep playing in awe of these assholes. It makes no sense. And again, and then we'll move on. Like, if you are a person that is concerned about attendance numbers, and the Islanders are like, I think, fifth from the bottom this year in attendance, or the atmosphere at UBS Arena, you cannot put up performances like this. Like, if it happens once, or I mean, every team is going to have a stinker or a two a couple of times a year, but like, you can't. This team could put up one of these games every week. Like, we don't know. And if you want people to come out to this place, which is not frankly easy to get to, it's not criticizing because it's the only place they could have built an arena. So it is where it is for a reason. But you want them to shell out $50 for parking and $18 for a beer and $20 for a chicken sandwich. That's a lot of dough. And then on top of a ticket price, you got to give people something other than this, whatever this is. Now, maybe this is an outlier, and maybe this is the one game a week that, one game this season that they're going to have like that. But if I was somebody who was at that game or watched it on TV, I'd be like, oh, thank God I didn't pay money to
Yeah.
go see that. And we had one of our patrons, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name right now, was like, oh, I picked a great game to bring my kids in from Jersey to watch this.
Oh
And we were
no.
like, oh man, I'm sorry, that's terrible, So can't do that. Can't do that to people. You got to give them
Yep.
consistent product.
And I would say that this probably isn't their first. This is the worst version of this kind of game this season, but
Yeah.
I mean they had that one against was it game 2, right, against Washington. I was
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Even the Winnipeg game was kind of a no-show too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and of course, like it was on the road, but a couple games ago against Carolina.
Yes.
So like
Right.
it's not.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah, that's and I think this was kind of the point I was trying to make with the presence on social media was like, I get you got to like put the stuff out there, but when your team completely dogs it on a Friday night, like the last thing we need to see is somebody like who just got gifted a free jersey and merch, uh, goodie bag and free seats in a suite to be like, I had so much fun at the Islander game. Cool first hockey experience. Like, I'm like, no, it wasn't. Kirill Kaprizov just beat us on his own, and a couple of and a couple of our players played for them. So
It's crazy. Okay, let's forget about that game forever now and move on to a much more entertaining game that happened the next night. So, I mean, if you didn't think that the Islanders were going to, have a much better experience a night after that shit show against Minnesota, I don't blame you because I almost didn't want to watch this game either. But I tuned in for it. And my wife was like, "You're watching an Islanders Rangers game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I might as well see what happens." And boy, am I glad we did. I did because the Islanders won 5-0, an absolute dismantling of another team that I don't want to say no showed, but has routinely been getting no showed at home. As you know by now, this was the Rangers' 5th shutout in 7 home games, all of which every game of this so far this season at home they have lost. They've won 7 games on the road, which is great, but they've lost 7 games at home. And to get shut out in 5 of them is insane. And not only obviously are the Islanders like the Rangers' biggest geographic rival, but as I'm sure you know, I did not watch this, of course. They honored their greatest players of their 100 years before this, and like they showed the Islanders in the tunnel warming up, and I sent you a text. I'm like, they're going to get their asses kicked in this game. Like these guys have been standing around 15 minutes while Adam Graves and Henrik Lundqvist are taking laps around the ice. Like this never works out for teams like this. And again, I was totally wrong. So this has been too funny. I know I will get to the game in a second, but like this is just too funny that they keep getting shut out at
uh,
home and can't
I
win,
don't know if
right?
I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a text from Boomer Gordon, who hosts the point on Sirius XM, and he's like, "This is the strangest thing." And I was like, I totally agree. I keep wondering if the season hasn't started yet, and I'm just like in this like long dream, and because the chances of this is just outrageous.
Yeah.
It it is. I've got some superstitious, some superstitious
Mm.
bones in my body, but especially when it comes to the Islanders, and I obviously have a pretty big belief in like the hockey gods and stuff like that. But this feels very schmitey, right? Like it feels
Yeah.
like one of the like the 7 plagues of Egypt is like befalling on ancient Egypt is like in Moses' time is like befalling on Madison Square Garden or something, because I have no are the Ghostbusters in town? Like what is going on? There's something very strange happening, but it's a force for good, obviously. I'm not complaining about it. I'm sitting back and watching. I don't want it to end. That
Yeah.
was the thing that really worried me about the Wild game was like, well, the Rangers have been shut out 4 times at home. They they haven't won a game at home yet this season. It's a month in. Like they're obviously going to beat us. They're due. They
Mm.
have no excuse. Like there's no way that they can come out on the ice and not give like an A plus 1000% effort. Um, and just like, you know, outwill the Islanders and because that's the scenario called for it. But whatever is whatever cloud is hovering over MSG, I just hope stays there forever, because this is truly remarkable stuff. Like there's some sort of shift going on in some parallel universe. We remember the Islanders got shut. Was it last season they got shut out like the 3 of their first 5 or 6 games
Yeah.
overall, and we're like, this is outrageous,
Mm.
and this is a million times stranger than that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's so good. And the fact that they were honoring the 100 years, like their best players and all that. It
Yeah.
really set up nicely, um, to have a good chuckle, and I'll
Yeah.
be laughing about it for quite some time. And
Right.
um, it's great that the team is like that team is just they look like they'd rather be anywhere else than a hockey rink.
Yeah.
especially when it's at MSG's right now, and the Islanders were able to pull that one off.
Not only did the Islanders get shut out in like 3 of their first 5 games last year, remember they lost their first 7 or 8 games at UBS Arena. Like
Right,
they didn't get a
right.
win there until like January when they started in November. So, I mean, it does happen, but it's pretty rare, and like the fact that this team it's happening to this team in, a big media darling team is just endlessly hilarious. And this one, couple of notes real quick. So, Kyle McLean was scratched before this game. Perhaps somebody had to pay for the crimes of the previous 2 games. And in goes Max Siplikov. I don't think Siplikov had a great game or anything, but I would infinitely rather see him out there than McLean. And as we mentioned before, a lot of the lines got shifted and the deep pairings got shifted. I believe it was Schaefer with Ryan Pullock. I think it was Pellick and D'Angelo, and then Romanov and Mayfield. I think maybe I'm wrong, but things seem to work. I mean, imagine getting Romanov away from D'Angelo, and all of a sudden he plays a lot better. I don't think he was all that bad. I mean, they won in a shutout, so it couldn't have been that bad. But all these things are happening. Again, it's an environment for the Islanders to absolutely fall flat on their faces, and they do anything but. The Rangers basically came out in the first 10 minutes and like owned the game, but then all of a sudden, Heineman to Horvat on a 2-on-1 makes it 1-0 Islanders. Period sort of evens out, but then just before the end, Duclair finds Drouin. Beautiful backhand 5-hole goal, makes it 2-0. At the very end of the period, Drouin got a block in. He blocked a shot from the point. Guy was an absolute animal in this entire game. And the end, Islanders take a 2-0 lead into the intermission. They do a good job in the second period, probably their best period of the game, kind of keeping the Rangers. Nothing really dangerous was coming their way. They even got a good penalty kill. At this point, Drouin is approaching the net, sends a backhand pass through the legs of the defender to Horvat, makes the game, the score 3-0. Horvat cannot be stopped. It's a power play goal. And that is your Vanda Pharmaceuticals shot of the week. Get vaccinated today. It could have been the Drouin 5-hole, but that pass and Bo getting his second of the game was just too much to pass on. So that's your Vanda Pharmaceuticals shot of the game. And Bo almost had another one at the end of the period too. So I mean, this guy, he's just completely on fire right now. It's amazing. The Rangers did have a lot of chances in the third, but the Islanders did a good job kind of keeping things. Sorokin was spectacular. We're going to get to him again in a minute. They can't clear at the end of the period. They just cannot get a clear of the Islanders. But Drouin finally gets the puck clear. JG Pajot ends up with an empty net goal from center ice, makes it 4-0. At this point, I tell my wife, okay, now I can exhale and enjoy the rest of the game. But they weren't done, because with 30 seconds left, Pajot finds Lee, scores on a 2-on-1. Beautiful goal by Anders Lee. And 5-0 shutout. Rangers in 5 of 7 home games, and completely winless at home in 7 home games this year. Sorokin was amazing. This was vintage Sorokin. 34 saves, a lot of them in the third period, was flapping those flippers everywhere. He looked fantastic. Shesterkin wasn't great, but I mean, this team didn't do anything really. It was the exact opposite of Friday. They went 2 for 2 on the PK, 1 for 2 on the power play. This is one of their best games of the year, if not the best. And I'm not just saying that because of the opponent. Like, they just went in there and played a hell of a game in the face of everything saying that they probably wouldn't do that. So I don't know with this team. They're a little crazy, but that night and all day today, I've been smiling, and I love these guys right now. But check me Monday night, I'll probably want to feel differently. But for a Saturday night game, doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. And I was in a wonderful place for this. I had a couple of my old college friends, and 8 of us had dinner on Arthur Avenue at a place called Enzo's in the Bronx, because a bunch of them are in Connecticut, come from New York, so we picked a place in between. Not realizing when we made these plans weeks and weeks and weeks ago that this would be Islanders Rangers. Not that I wouldn't have gone anyways. So I had the game on my phone, and I was watching. I was sitting next to my buddy who's a big Ranger fan, and I drove, so I wasn't even drinking, but how when you're at like a dinner like that, it was a rollicking time, like so much fun.
Sure.
Great group of guys that I hadn't seen in a while, and it was just a really good night for the soul. And when you're at a dinner like that is like just rollicking, and it gets better as it goes on, and like people are loosening up and laughing, and you kind of get like all the like catching up stuff out of the way, like how the kids or the wife at the house, whatever. and like it just ends up like crescendoing. And so I felt myself almost, even though I wasn't drinking, like getting drunker with every, it was like every goal was like a shot. And I was like, oh, that was great. Like
Right.
I'm just feeling good. And I really behaved myself next to my friend who is a Ranger fan. Because as I said, talking about before, you know, I do believe in the hockey gods, and I didn't want to like taint a good night that we were all
Mm.
having with with stuff like that, and knowing that if I did, the Islanders would end up losing. So I played my part. But yeah, as you said, like that we used Nassau Coliseum, when there would be games like that, we'd be like, it was a party, right?
Yeah.
Didn't matter if there were 6,000 people in the building or 16,234. It felt like one, and on the road it's a little different, but when it's against the Rangers, you can feel it. And yeah, being in a place like that, for that and just watching it, I just had a huge smile on my face all night, going to bed, watch the highlights again when I got home, and it was, the Islanders were smiling too. Like
Mm.
that was what was nice about it. It was like
Right.
they had a blast. We had a blast. We all know what happened between these two teams the past whatever 5-6 games that they played before that one, and they were able to get exact some revenge. And boy, is Bo Horvat good, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it's still a lose-lose trade. Obviously, the Islanders, the Islanders and Canucks are both still really regretting that one,
Right.
as we all know. And but he is so good at hockey. I was actually on the phone before this game talking to my friend from Montreal, and he and I were catching up, and he was talking to me about Nick Suzuki,
Mm.
and he was like, "Yeah, man, like I just this like weird sense of calm comes over me every time I see him step on the ice now." And
Mhm.
he's like, "I haven't had that feeling about a player in so long." With Montreal, he's like, it's a little different with he said he felt that way with like Shea Weber a little bit, but it's a
Mm.
little different with defensemen. He's like, with a center like that, I was like, dude, I feel this. I know exactly how you feel, because I feel that way with Bo Horvat. That,
Mm.
hey, maybe something bad happens on the ice when Bo Horvat's on the ice, but it's not going to be his fault. Like it's just because that's what happens in hockey. And
Yeah.
but if good things happen, it's going to be because he knows exactly what he's supposed to do on a hockey on the sheet, man.
Yeah.
I just saw you get off the sheet. I think he just knows what he's supposed to do at all times, and that innate skill is so valuable.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm extremely grateful that he's an Islander and has been an
Yeah.
Islander for as long as he have and has been. And I feel like we've probably been focused on so much other stuff while he's been here,
Yeah.
um, whether it be just the way the team has been just an absolute roller coaster ride. Uh, the Then there was like we were really doing our best to appreciate what could have been the end of Brock Nelson's career, and some other
Mm.
guys were like leaving, Bailey and Clutterbuck, and whatever. That not that he got lost in the shuffle, but it would be like, yeah, Bo Horvat did his job. That
Right.
it doesn't feel like it gets um and it's almost like understood. Like I know you love Bo Horvat and love the way he
Mm.
plays. I do. So it's almost unspoken. Like we don't even need to bring it up because
Right.
it's like almost like wasted breath. But boy, he is such a pleasure to have on the team you root for.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, he's almost like that male carrying running back from the NFL of like the early 2000s, like Curtis Martin. I'm sure
Yeah.
I feel the same way that
Perfect. Yeah.
Bo Horvat that Jets fans felt about Curtis Martin, or because you're just like, well, we're going to give this guy the ball. He's going to gain 6 yards on first down. He's going to make everybody else's life easier
Mm.
during this game. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, Bo Horvat is what a wonderful, wonderful experience has been
Yeah.
watching him play for the Islanders.
But Bo is one of those guys where, like, if you look at his year over year stats, the year he came to the Islanders, he ended up with 70 points between Vancouver and the Islanders. He had 68 the year after. He had 57 last year. They're all within a couple of I obviously there's a difference between 58 and 68, 57 and 68, but like it felt like a consistent season for him. I mean, he was only off by he had 28 goals as opposed to 33 the year before, and 29 assists as opposed to 35. So like still he's kind of in that same range, and it just feels that way. It just feels like he's such a consistent producer. He always plays the same way. He's obviously always going to play the same position. And yeah, no, it's great having him here. And you just wish that there was, there were more people around him to complement that. I mean, Anders Lee, I guess, can be kind of thrown in the same bucket. Like, I think at one point we're going to look back at Anders Lee's career and be like, man, this guy he just produced, all the time. And so now I think the line in this game was Barzell, Horvat, and Heineman. I'm not a huge fan of leaving Barzell at the wing, but if it works, hey, whatever, that's fine. But what it ended up happening was Drouin and Duclair ended up on a line together. I forget who was on the other side. It might have been Holmstrom. I don't even remember. Things get changed around, but you could see that Duclair was like, I am not going to screw this up and I need to make the most of this. And him and Drouin in particular, I mean, the Islanders were very good throughout the lineup, but like, he made the most of this and he looked great. He was fast. They hooked up for a beautiful goal and one, in the first period. And so while I don't think Duclair would be like, get me off a line with these humps, on the fourth line here, I think he made his point that he needs to be an offensive player. He can't be on the fourth line with these guys. And like Waugh keeps saying, I don't like when you call this line the fourth line. He said, I think after the game, to me, the first line is whatever line is on the ice, which is a nice, that's a nice line, but there is a hierarchy here. Cal Ritchie, by the way, only played 7 minutes and change. He didn't even make 8 minutes of ice time here. And I don't want to go too far into him. I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's okay, but he hasn't really wowed me so far, which is fine. I mean, he's still new here, so we'll see what happens with him. But I thought this was a great game for Sorokin, obviously Horvat, and Duclair in particular, and to an extent Drouin as well. But I thought Duclair looked really good. He finally looked like Anthony Duclair, I think, is supposed to look. And I feel like he probably felt that way as well. So great game, fun Saturday night, the complete opposite of Friday night's disaster. And it has made the Rangers fans even more crazy than they already were. And we're going to get to a Ranger Piece Theater in the second half that spotlights the Rangers captain. The always, just like Bo Horvat, a picture of consistency. And JT Miller, his former teammate. We'll get into that. But any final thoughts on this 5-0 Rangers, 5-0 Islanders victory over their most hated rival in front of some of their most storied historical figures?
No, it was just wonderful one I won't forget. One of those games where I'll be like, I remember watching that game on my phone at Enzo's, which thank you to my good friend Mike Francesa for the recommendation there.
Wow,
it was great. Yeah, we took a picture and sent it to the big guy, and he said, "What a group!" So
did he say time for Enzo's? Time for Barzell. Never forget that.
Yep.
So,
bingo.
Yeah. Bingo. Right. Okay. So yeah, fun game. Definitely going to savor that as long as I can, which won't be very long because we're going to talk in the second half about the Islanders' upcoming schedule, which is not easy in any way, shape, or form. And then again, we're going to get to our Ranger Piece Theater. So meet us on the other side. Thanks. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly. Okay, before we get to the Islanders' upcoming schedule, a little bit about our schedule. So this is a packed week for us. Obviously, you're listening to this episode now. Tuesday, we will be putting out our call for questions for November's monthly mailbag podcast. We're going to record that Tuesday night. So if you want to get a question in, go to patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety, sign up for the Country Club tier. You can get your question in. and we will read it on the mailbag episode that we're recording that night. So that comes out on Wednesday. On Friday, we have not only a brand new episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast, but another edition, a Weird Islanders extra bonus podcast. That's a little bit of an extra conversation with our great guest, who is one of our favorites. He loves asking us questions. So we broke that out once again into its own Weird Islanders extra bonus podcast. So again, you can get the bonus podcast again as a Country Club tier subscriber, but everybody's going to get the Weird Islanders episode that comes out on Friday. If you are old like me and you remember when TV shows used to do a very special episode, this week on a very special episode of The Facts of Life, or a very special episode of Home Improvement, this I would categorize as a very special episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast. It talks about a player who is unfortunately has left us far too early, but we're still fans. We celebrate the man and his playing career, and it was a great conversation. And so please check that out on Friday. And if you want more, check out our Weird Islanders extra bonus podcast as well for patrons. Okay, so again, packed week. Then we are not the only ones with a packed week this week. So do the Islanders have one. Monday night in New Jersey, 7 p.m., the day you're listening to this. Then it is a road trip out west. Thursday night in Vegas, 10 p.m. start. Okay. Friday night in Utah, 9 p.m. start. And then on Sunday, another 9 p.m. start, this time in Denver to face the Avalanche, who, when last seen, were absolutely destroying the Edmonton Oilers 9-1 in Edmonton. So the Avs are firing on all cylinders this season already. Because that game is at 9 p.m. Eastern time next Sunday, we won't be recording afterwards. We're going to record on Monday, and then the next episode will come out on Tuesday, which is just before their game in Dallas. But we'll talk about that next week. So this is a brutal stretch of games. We're talking about three teams that are Stanley Cup contenders, and the Utah Mammoth, who are just one of the most surprising teams in the league, putting up a lot of numbers, scoring a lot of goals. This is absolutely brutal. I'm not saying the Islanders are going to go 0-4 here. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, but we don't know where they would be after, even if they did that. But this is why the points against the Rangers were so crucial. This is why points against Minnesota were even more crucial, but they decided to throw those away. I don't know. Again, I asked you this a couple of weeks ago for another brutal week that they had. Which of these games scares you the most? Believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like the Islanders have a pretty good record in Vegas. Oddly, I mean, they only played there a handful of times, but I feel like they've won a couple of times there, which is kind of strange. Utah is obviously brand new. And then remember, they had that huge win against the Avalanche last year, which nobody expected to happen either. So it's not like they can't win any of these games, but they're going to need a little bit of help. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they do have a good record in Vegas, I think, and I remember there's two games I remember particularly. One, they beat them, and then in 2021, 2022, and that part of that season opening road trip, and that guy at Sportsnet wrote like, the Islanders are just doing what the Islanders do, and then they lost like the next 15 games in a row.
Right.
And the other one was when I was in England to go to the darts, and I woke up in like the middle of the night, and it was some crazy game where there was, I think like Sorokin had a shutout, and where I think it was Aiden Hill had a shutout for the Knights too, and someone I don't even remember who wanted a shootout, but I remember waking up in the middle of the night and being like, "What?" So yeah, weird stuff happens out there. The Devils game is the one that scares me the most because I actually think the Devils are smoke and mirrors right now. The way that they're going, they're kind of like, you look at their they have like a -7 or 8 goal difference at 5-on-5, but they're 11-4. So I don't know. I feel like the Islanders can beat the Devils. They haven't lost at home yet. 7-0-0. The Devils are at the Rock, but I just feel like you win that game and you go into this hellish 3-4 in the I don't know, like in the Wild West in Wyatt Earp territory. It really lightens the load, where if you lose to the Devils, you're like, well, we need to win. We got to get 3 points out of these 3 games somehow, and that's going to be tough. So I mean, if you can find a win against the Devils and then find one more in Vegas, Utah, or Colorado, I think you take 2 and 2 here, and you run to Dallas with those 4 points. But yeah, it really has the potential to take a lot of the wind out of the sails of of a
Seriously.
great win against the Rangers, and pretty quickly the it's scary, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is one, like, remember the schedule came out, we're like, "Oh, fuck, this
Jesus
is"
Christ.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's a horror show, and, um, but, like, if they find a way, and this is looking too far ahead, but if you find a way to come out of this, 6-game stretch with your all your limbs, the
Mm,
schedule really lightens up for them on the other side of it with games against, like, the Blues, the Kraken, the Bruins, and the Flyers. Like, all of a
yeah.
sudden you can, um, find a way to be like, "Oh, wow," like, the Islanders have some serious momentum going with them. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's daunting. It's daunting
Yeah.
stuff. We get to see our old friend Mitch Marner, out in Vegas. Tell him thanks, and of course Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Mammoth,
Yes.
and the businessman who's doing such
Yeah.
wonderful things with the obstructed views out there that are just, you wouldn't
the uh
believe it.
the the NHL wants to be in the Ryan Smith business,
Ugh,
young Bukowskis. This is also going to be the third week in a row the Islanders have a back to back. And again, we're not going to talk about it until next week, but they have one next week too. So, like, I'm sure other teams have really condensed schedules like this. Again, it is an Olympic year, so everybody's schedule is kind of condensed. But man, that seems like a lot. 4 weeks in a row, some back to back. That's kind of crazy. So again, these are four very daunting teams, but we've seen the Islanders beat some of them on the road at times. I mean, they've beaten the Devils in New Jersey in different iterations. They've beaten the Avalanche in Colorado. They've beaten the Golden Knights at home. So it can be done, but they're going to need to pull it together, and more efforts like Saturday night at the Garden and less efforts like Friday night at home against Minnesota. Because if you show one of these games, you're going to get you're going to get done to you what the Avalanche just did to the Oilers the other night. Again, 9-1. They tuned them up really good. So it's going to be rough, but we'll be back on Monday night to talk about it and see where they're at. And again, as I've been saying, just stay in it. Like, don't if you're going to make us stay up till 10 or 9 o'clock at night to watch you, please give us a reason to. Like, don't don't make me regret the next day being like, I can't believe I watched these stupid idiots lose 6-0 against Vegas
I
last night.
know.
Then I got to work on a Friday or work on a Monday. Come on, don't do
Uh,
that's not cool.
it gives me PTSD to a couple seasons ago when they were hitting the skids out in the Western Canada swing, and they kept losing, and then Shannon Hogan would come on air and be like,
Yeah,
"They gave it
right,
their all. If you're and thank you for still being up with us." I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear any of this. I'm steaming mad at myself. I'm not mad at you or the team. I'm mad at myself for being up at 1:30 in the morning to watch them lose to the
right,
Flames. Like,
yeah, right,
I don't want
yeah.
to be here.
Right. It's brutal. So don't do that. But in any event, we'll see how they go, and we might start seeing some separation here. We'll never know. Maybe it's the Islanders who get separated from everybody else. Well, we'll have to see. But right now, they're in the thick of it, so can't ask for too much more than that. Okay, moving on to the big finale that we've been teasing this whole time. So I spent the better part of my Sunday scouring the internet, looking for content for a Ranger Peace Theater following the game on Saturday night. I was everywhere. Okay. I was on in different stories. I was on different blogs. I was on Reddit. I was on HF boards. HF boards. Who goes to HF boards anymore? It's actually a vibrant community, man. I give those people credit. I was looking for something to read dramatically, as we do with Master Leaf Theater, of course, and give it the proper treatment following the Islanders curb stomping the Rangers in dramatic fashion on Saturday. The problem is, and I promise we'll get back to the Rangers in a minute, I did find stuff, so don't worry about it. But the problem is that, and this gets back to what I was saying, that I don't want to beat Master Leaf Theater into the ground and overplay the bit. And I got a lot of comments of people being like, no, we love Master Leaf Theater. Keep it going. So I do appreciate those. But there's a reason why Master Leaf Theater is such an evergreen source of content. It's because nobody covers their team the way Leafs writers cover that team. Like, the Rangers, again, have lost 7 straight home games to start their season. They have been shut out in 5 of them, including against the Islanders, who had sleepwalked through a game the night before in front of 100 or whatever former Rangers. If that happened to the Leafs, oh my God, there would be volume written about it. It'd be like, I was just imagining Luke Fox Jukebox writing. So, Artemi Panarin shaved his head. And like, can you imagine if that was the Leafs on after Saturday night? It would be like Artemi Panarin, head clean shaven and tarps off, looked sullen in the Rangers locker room. A few blocks away in Rockefeller Center, a giant Christmas tree was going up. The Rockettes were performing at Radio City Music Hall, but there was no joy in Madison Square Garden. Like, it'd be something like that. It'd be crazy. Right. Nobody else gets that. The Rangers don't even get that.
I know.
So I did find something, but it just made me think about how special Master League Theater is and why we keep doing it, because they keep putting stuff out that's like that.
It's and not to make this a Trojan horse Master League Theater, but there was some stuff from Steve Dangle. Matt Strauss sent me a clip of him basically talking about how lucky they are to have John Tavares and how he's like punching above his weight this season in a way that you just have never seen. And the clip is it is like that, and the way he talks about him, I'm like, yeah, the guy that they drafted all the way down at first overall, like what is he talking about? But that's the point. It's like nobody. John Tavares would just he was brought to win to Toronto to win a Stanley Cup, but he's talked about as if he's this like Nelson in England or what's his face in Hannibal, the Carthaginian guy who like went into Rome, like this incredible leader who came and fought some valiant victories for a team that no there weren't any victories. He didn't win. Like, come on, move on. Anyways, that ends this aside, but it really got me.
Yeah, it was very funny. There was like, this guy came here from the Islanders. I still can't believe he's here. Steve, you cried for 2 years to bring that guy to your hometown from the Islanders. What are you talking about? That's like begging Santa Claus for a present at Christmas and then getting it and then being like, I can't believe I got that. What do you think Santa does? It's unbelievable. They're so clueless.
They're so
and thank God they are, because if not, we would have nothing to laugh at.
And you're right. It's not. And I was having this conversation with someone today. It's not just hockey. This is across all sports. There's just not a team out there that gets that specific kind of coverage. Like even the Blue Jays didn't. Like, it's not even the market. It is that team, that current core of media. It's really special. So, long may it continue.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But again, we have found content for a very special and very necessary version of Master League Theater's sister series. And so it is with great pride that we bring you another installment of Ranger Peace Theater. Okay, so where did I go for Ranger Peace Theater material? Turns out the answer was right under my nose the whole time. And as I was kind of, immersing myself in Rangers culture undercover for the day, I was reminded that the Rangers in the summertime publicized that they had a team slogan this year. And the team slogan was "No BS." And they had shirts made with like BS and sort of the Ranger font, the way the jerseys are set up with the circle with the thing through it, like Ghostbusters style. No BS. We're not taking any BS this year. And that kind of sent me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. And I came across something written by the creator and the leader of the No BS movement amongst the Rangers. And that is Captain JT Miller, who is going to be the star of our episode of Ranger Peace Theater here. And I found this great quote in which he explains the genesis of the no BS idea. So here we go. Ready? This is what JT Miller, this was from September. And this is what Miller said. We'll get to post-game quotes from the game on Saturday in a minute. But this was in September. Miller said this to reporters about the no BS movement. He said, "It's quite literal. It literally means let's stick to the team game. We want to be fast, in-your-face, F-you type of team. What are they going to say about the Rangers in their room? What do we want them to think about us? They're a team that's not going to give you an easy night type of team." This sounds like a lot of BS. I gotta be honest with you. This is the kind of thing that everybody says. Like, we want to be a hard team. to play against, and JT is just saying like that's what a no BS team is like. And yeah, I guess so, but like this does sound like a lot of BS. I got to be honest with
Yeah, and I if you told me like the Islanders' ethos, their identity this year is they're a no BS team, I'd be like, I don't really, I don't know what that means. Like,
you. Right.
it definitely
Um,
doesn't. The first thing that doesn't pop to my that pops to my mind isn't like, oh, they're going to be really hard to play against.
right.
That's what no BS means. It means that
Yeah.
they're going to be punishing us, forward checking, relentless. Like, no, no, that just means that you understand that the team was an absolute soap opera last year,
Yeah.
and you needed to put something else out like that. But as you said, yeah, it's all BS. And I gotta say, man, they've definitely been hard to play against at Madison Square Garden. I mean,
Nah.
it's the five shutouts in 7 games is really hard to play against. So I love the way JT set this one up for us
Mm,
going into the season because man, and you know what's great is when those shirts like made the rounds,
yeah.
not just the media here, but like around hockey, they were like, "Oh, the Rangers mean business," like be- because the dude went to like the screen printer at down the block and got shirts. Like, man, there are seventh grade CYO basketball teams that get shirts made up like that too. Like,
Right.
I don't think I walked into St. Barnabas and people were like, "Wow, that's that St.
Mm.
Agnes team. They've got shirts that say like all for one for all. Like they mean business this season. They're gonna. Why are we even gonna play? Why are we gonna play? They got shirts made up. It's like
I'd love to
it's incredible.
I'd love to find a team that is like, we're all BS. We love
Yeah.
BS here. We're
Yes.
all about the BS. This whole season is just going to be one
Just
parade of bullshit after another.
just
I
a lot
can't
of
wait.
it.
Goddamn flying Monty Python's
Uh,
flying circus
im-
from game 1 to game 82.
Imagine being
Uh,
like Vladislav Gavrikov. He's just
right.
some like Russian guy, and like JT Miller is like, "Hey, welcome to the team. Here's your
No BS
you
shirt.
you got to wear this to what do they call it when before like when high schools do rallies before like
Oh, like a
football
pep
games like
rally.
pep rally.
Yeah.
Make sure you wear your no BS shirt to the pep rally tomorrow night.
Mm.
He'd be like, "Damn it, why did I sign here?"
Is he would say, is my $8 million in this shirt? Because
Yeah.
then I'll wear it. But if it's not, I won't. So anyway, so that was back in September when JT explained the no BS ethos to a rapt audience of Rangers reporters, which again was basically a lot of BS because every team says this kind of crap. Fast forward to Saturday night, in which the Rangers are at home, in particular, basically nothing but BS. They've been shut out. They can't win. People are booing. You know, these guys are in the audience. John Davidson is out there. Whatever. Who all these other old Rangers are out there, and they're just watching this team get shut out, shut down, completely blanked in every home game or almost every home game. And so they went to the captain again and they asked him about, what all this means. And he gave another quote that, again, sounds strangely like BS. He said, "We're humans. It's hard. We all care. It's not an effort-based thing. We had a great start and then got careless with some decisions and it cost us. We all say the right things about trusting the process, but the longer you go without getting the result, it becomes a very hard thing to do. So we need to be mentally tough. Don't point fingers. It's on us." Okay, again, this is a lot of BS, but my favorite part of this is when he says, "We all care," and then he says, "But then we got careless when we lost." So we cared until we got careless and then we lost. But yeah, JT's not about pointing fingers unless Elias Pettersson is in the room, and then he's definitely pointing at Elias Pettersson. But yeah, this is a lot of BS, JT. I gotta be honest with you. This isn't working out. This is a lot of words signifying I don't know what the answer is. And in fairness, I wouldn't know either. But you gotta do a little bit better than this, I think.
Yeah, yeah. This sounds like as a can. This is canned BS, honestly. Like,
It's the worst kind of BS.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is just. Oh God, I got to. I'm the captain. I got to talk to them. I guess got to rely on
Yes.
the crutches of cliches. And he all he was missing was it starts with me. But I don't think JT Miller is that kind of guy. He's as you said. It never starts with him. It starts with Elias Pettersson.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and but yes, it's just really really heartwarming that to
Yeah.
watch this unfold as it has, with the Islanders having Matthew Schaefer on their team, and thinking back to when the Rangers essentially got gifted every break imaginable for
Yeah.
year and years and years and years and years, going to conference finals on because they were playing Louis Domingue and Antti Ranta on one leg, and just never getting over the hump despite winning a couple lotteries and such. And I man, we really uh dodged a bullet with how that went with Lafreniere and Kako not being the
Oh man.
generational stars that they were promised. And then as we said all the time, like they caught so many breaks and so many
Yeah.
bounces, and every run to the Eastern Conference Final was just fueled by goals off of shin pads and power plays with like 2 minutes left because they needed one, and they looked at the ref and he was like, all right, you can get one, go score. And they looked at all that and they said to them, and they said, it's not good enough, we want more. And
Right.
finally the hockey gods finally got fed up with it and have cursed them into this new whatever they are now, which is
Mm.
that their captain is is J. They went from that, like, this kind of core team with Kreider and Trouba and these young
Yeah.
guys coming in, and the goalie and Gerard Gallant, then Peter Laviolette, and this stuff that kind of made sense and frankly was a little scary
Mm.
because you also knew they were good and would get the rub of the green. And they looked at that and they turned it into this.
Yeah.
On their own, like, through no fault of anyone else's but their own. Like, these were complete unforced errors
Yeah.
to go down this path to get to the point where they bring in a guy who thinks like it's a monumental, innovative, progressive. I don't know. I don't think there's much progressive about JT Miller, but like thinking he thinks what he's doing here is like a big deal, putting
Yeah.
together T-shirts for a group of millionaires
Right.
who are playing for the biggest team in the United States in the NHL,
Mm.
and that's going to be what lights a fire under this group when, as we said, like, they just watch the bones of their team just get picked apart by their GM, who their meddlesome GM. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
no BS, no BS from the Rangers. No goals at home, no BS anywhere.
No wins at home.
No wins at
Um,
home. Yeah.
there was a point in that game that I was watching on Saturday. I think it was early. And at one point there was a shot of a group of Rangers, and I looked at the names on the backs of the jerseys, which, by the way, look like shit. These are their 100th anniversary jerseys. They're absolutely terrible. They look like a child made them. I'm sure they looked great in 1932 or whatever that they are representing, but they look like ass now. They're terrible. But I'm looking at the names on the backs of the jerseys, and I said to myself, I don't know who any of these guys are. Like, who is what's his name? I just had it here. Who is Yaroslav Kemelar? Who is that? Like, I'm like, what Noah Laba, I've heard of him, but like I don't know who he is. And I'm like, Will Cooley is still here, I guess, but like Taylor Radish is here. When did
Yeah.
he get here? He's leading the team in goals. Like Taylor
Yeah.
Radish has 5 goals this year. That leads the Rangers. And then as these guys are in the frame, who is on the ice once it gets back to the action? Connor Sherry is there. I'm like, Connor Sherry is a Ranger. I thought this guy retired 2 years ago. And then I was like, so let me get this straight. This team can't score at home, can't win at home. And it's the usual suspects, Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox. Obviously, Miller's here now. But like, you're pulling in Connor Sherry? Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. The bottom half of this lineup is just like, who? Like, it's just, which is very strange for the Rangers. And I
Yeah.
was just like, I was dumbfounded. Like, when was the last time you looked at a Rangers lineup and just couldn't remember who was half the team? It's kind of crazy.
Right.
And then the other thing is that and again, I found this out by reading all these Rangers spots today. And I think this has a lot to do with why they're struggling this year, particularly at home. And you and I have talked about this in years past. Their power play stinks. This is a team that has feasted on power plays for years. That was how they scored goals and won. And their power play right now just ain't cutting it. And so maybe that'll change and maybe they'll start getting wins. But that has been this team's primary way of scoring goals through 3 coaches now.
Right.
And it's not working for them. Like you said, Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba, they're not here now. They're actually in Anaheim right now.
Doing great.
And
Even
what?
Trouba's played really well too.
Yeah. Trouba won a game in OT that night too, which I made people very mad. So we don't know what's going to happen with Braden Schneider. What's going to happen with Brendan Othman? Who cares? Like, who are these guys? What are we talking about here? Yuso Parsonen is here. Okay, I guess. Like, so they've like you said, unforced errors. They've replaced half their lineup with guys that frankly aren't that good and taken away their greatest strength, which was their
Right.
power play. And obviously Shesterkin is still here, but like he doesn't have the cushion that he used to have before because the power play goals.
And this is it's as you said, like they feasted on the power play. It's a team and a
Right.
fan base that just waits to get handed everything. And when
Mm-hmm.
that hand stops handing you things, you're like, well, what are we gonna do? And that core of players, Trouba. I mean, it all started with Barclay Goodrow being run out of town
Right. Yeah.
after Gerard Gallant was run out of town. And you know what? The mortal sin that Jacob Trouba and Barclay Goodrow and Gerard Gallant, Peter Laviolette committed.
Mm.
They brought these teams to the Eastern Conference Final and didn't have the audacity to win the Stanley Cup. And like what, they didn't do anything. Chris Kreider had one down year after just a career of like rewriting the Rangers goal scoring record book. And not only was he traded away, he became a persona non grata. Like, he was run out of town. The fan base too. They were like, well, we'll always love Kreider, but I'm driving him to the airport. Like, and as we always say, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can live life without Leo Komarov or Matt Martin. Like, I don't care that they don't do anything for us on the ice. I just love these guys, and that's just the real difference between the fan bases. So
Jacob Trouba's friggin' wife was doxxed at her workplace. That was how badly they wanted him to get rid of him. So
and what he just had the audacity to be the captain of the Rangers and make a lot of money, which is and he invoked his no trade clause, which was a something written into a legal document that he owed, and that was, man, that, you know what, though, he couldn't come up with a catchphrase like "no BS" like the current captain. If only Jacob could have come up with something as creative as that and life changing, then maybe he'd still be here with his wife and Dr. Trouba. But no, he couldn't do it. Kreider's gone. Yeah, they gutted this team that went to 2 Eastern Conference Finals in 4 years, and they gutted it.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable how this happened. And another, it's not too dissimilar to like how things have shaken out up with the Leafs and how that's come about. But there's a lot of times where I don't believe it, because I was like, that it looked so precarious when this all started happening. When Panarin signed and they win these lotteries, and Shesterkin is Peter Regan turns into the best goalie of all time for the Rangers somehow. Peter Regan's Islander tenure, I should say, turns into the best goalie for the Rangers of all that you've ever seen. And it looked really scary. Like, and now here we are on the other side of it, and like it got to here. Like, if you told me before that game, when they're playing the Panthers, like that game 5 or 6, whenever it was, and you're like, in 2 years from now, 3 years, whatever it's been, you show me this lineup, and you're like, this is what the Rangers are going to be trotting out against you at Saturday night at MSG when they're honoring the 100th anniversary team. I'm like, well, did they have, like, was there 8 new expansion teams or something? what happened? So I'm very grateful that we're in this spot with the no BS era right now. It's been a lot of fun.
You can list all the players that aren't here anymore, but the number one thing that's not here is BS, because there's no BS here. Much like there's no quit in New York, there's no BS here right now. So maybe at some point the BS returns, but for right now we can enjoy the no BS era. And that is your first of the season Ranger Piece Theater. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up right here. Like I said, Friday, new episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast. It's great. I promise you. It's about a player that we all really cared about, and also Weird Islanders extra later that day. Tuesday is mailbag day, so get your questions in. Sign up for Country Club tier, and then we're going to record that night. That comes out on Wednesday, and otherwise, just enjoy the games. There's a lot to enjoy this week, so hopefully the Islanders give us a reason to smile again as they did on Saturday night. Become a member at patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety for commercial-free episodes, bonus podcasts, written posts, chats. Join for free. You could get a 7-day free trial of our country club tier also. So patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. I got to rewrite that whole thing. It never really works. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety podcasts are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Find us wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Please leave us a review where you can and sign up for subscribe to us on YouTube. Shop vintageicehockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. Mike, we've talked about a lot. We've talked about a lot of games coming up, a lot of goals, no BS. Any final thoughts before we settle in and get ready for some late nights and tough games?
No, just yeah, a thank you to anyone who has subscribed to the Patreon or left a review recently. And if you're feeling antsy, go right ahead and do so. But other than that, yeah, we'll because I think that'll be a great place to be for these late games. This is in the Patreon chat. Just wind down and talk about how beautiful the new still obstructed view seats of the Utah Mammoth rink is with one another late into the night on Thursday or Friday, whenever they're playing. So we'll see you there, and thank you again for listening, and hopefully by the time we talk next, we're not wondering if the season's over.
Yes, that would be a bonus. But first things first, let's get through the Devils on Monday night and see where we're at after that on the way to Vegas and Utah and then Colorado. All right, thank you for listening, and we'll be back next Tuesday. We're going to record on Monday, and it comes back next episode. We'll run on Tuesday before the game in Dallas. All right, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.